Ron March Show. Today's date is November the 17th, and we are blasting out of Detroit Live, and we're going to talk tonight on a very interesting subject. Very interesting. The Berlin Conference. It's appropriate that we do it today, because tomorrow we're going to get into what's going on in Paris, France. I've already talked with Beverly B, and we decided to deal with that tomorrow. I wanted to lay a little foundation as to what's going on. Let me get this sound out of there. Yeah. A lot of you people out there that are calling in, be sure to mute your phone. I'm getting a lot of sound. Mute your phone. Yep. Okay. The Berlin Conference is a very important place in time where I know your school skipped over it. Very few people really want to talk about it. But to listen to what's going on the news today, it made me think of Berlin, the conference that went on in 1884 and 1885. Those dates. You know, I love to talk about dates and to make you understand that you need to stay in the time frame because things happen so fast. The European is trying to maintain control of the earth, and he's doing it so fast as he writes about it and try and write himself in as a good guy. He will lose you if you don't know the dates that he's talking about. So we're going to deal tonight with 1884 and 1885. And we're really talking about February the 26th of 1885 and the Chancellor of Belgium, no, the Chancellor of Berlin, who confronted or connived and began to set up this thing called the Berlin Conference. Now, the Chancellor out of Germany's name was Otto von Bismarck. Otto von Bismarck. He's a resident of Berlin. He was a resident of Berlin. Now, it was set up for the primary purpose of stealing Africa. Now, it's so important to understand this because the countries that were involved, let me flip back and see if I can't pull those countries up. They are countries that are there now. Countries that are there now. Who, let me do it another way. There are countries that are there now who were very instrumental in setting up this white supremacy, this imperialism of conquering the earth. And of course, you know, they took it away from us. When I say us, I'm talking about black inhabitants. Now, I can't give you the structure on who, what, where, and why, but I can only tell you that people of color were here first on this planet. And everyone will agree to that, with that. We were here first, people of color. However, when they came on the scene, they were given a mission like everyone else, due to okay, hold up a minute, I'm having a problem closing out. There we go. All right. They were having a problem fighting for control. That's all they were doing, fighting for control to maintain the earth. We need to know this knowledge, this history. They're keeping it all away from us. There's got to be a major reason. I don't know that major reason, unless you want to get into the war of the gods. And I don't want to go there because I don't know that much about it. I can only tell you who I am and what I'm trying to do. Okay? And just a reminder, I'm Ron Marshall, my name, and my mission, I feel, is to try and raise the consciousness of my people of color. And a lot of strange things have went on historically that would benefit us in dealing with our condition right here on earth. It would help us in what can I call it? More or less trying to figure out why we do the things that we do. Okay. Now, I have a very important article that I want to deal with, and I'm going to tap on it lightly because what's going on earth, seriously, and it's kind of frightening, if you want to say it like it is. So in February the 26th of 1885, Chancellor Otto von Bismarck something's happening with my activation failed. They set up this thing called the Berlin Conference in Africa. After 3 months of negotiating amongst the leading diplomats from all of the major European powers, and in parentheses, the United States, not United States of America, but United States. The General Act of Berlin Conference had been agreed, and a large part of Africa's subsequent fate had been set in motion. They decided to steal and colonize Africa. Now, the date is very important because United States had a history approximately 200 years earlier in colonizing and setting up what we know today as the 13 colonies right here in the United States. So let's not let United States get off the hook, which were nothing more than Brits, Englishmen who came to this continent approximately 1604 and began to set up colonies. All right? For at one time, when an estimated 80% of Africa remained under traditional and local control, the purpose of the Berlin Conference had been for the great powers to establish rules among themselves for the colonization of Africa and the Congo as a personal possession of the Belgian king, King Leopold. King Leopold was in the Congo area, and he controlled at one time all of Africa. However, this conference was set up, and I'll read it again. The conference was set up to colonize Africa and as a personal possession which was a personal possession of the Belgian king. Not surprisingly, no Africans had been invited to the conference. Now, think about your own communities today. It's set up when they have these meetings, and I've told you over and over again, all meetings of any importance in your lifetime, any meeting of your importance in lifetime, is always set up about you. You are the number one on the agenda. No ifs, no ands, no buts. You don't even have to be there. If they call a meeting, it's about you. if they call a meeting on your job, in your church, in politics, it's all about Black America. Believe me. And not surprisingly, in the meetings today, you are never invited to the meeting. Using actual transcripts taken from the Berlin 85 Division of Africa combines reenactments of the conference proceeding and previously unexplored archive material with the insight of historians and scholars from 6 nations. Remember those 6 nations, to discuss the politics, implications, and legacy of the first international conference about Africa. The viewer is given the opportunity to hear words for words the negotiations around what will become the decisive events of the 19th century. They made this movie called The Berlin 1885. I'd like to see that. And I believe if you go online, you can see it. It's a remarkable, entertaining, and aspirating only because of the submergedness and complexity of its participants. Okay, we don't need to go into that. But the bottom line is very simple. That is, they set this conference up in Africa, and the purpose of the conference was to divvy up Africa.
New message is received from QQQBJ.
We in America are still suffering from this. Let me see if I can get another one up. Okay. Now, the consequences of the Berlin Conference of 1884 and 1885. What were the consequences of European countries claiming African land without talking to the African leaders, or without thinking about ethnic or linguistic groups? The best answer, one of the major consequences was putting 2 or more enemies into the same political unit, erasing their once and easily known tribal boundaries. I've been to Africa, and they are all aware of what happened. They're living under pressure and the disconcern for African lives of the Berlin Conference of 1884 and 1885. They're still suffering today from that. Now, you need to understand it, because when they set up these new boundaries, they did it from Berlin. They did it without any input of the African continent. So they just divvied it up. They brag about the Chancellor of England, who wrote English portion of Africa on a napkin right in the area of the meeting that took place. He just divvied it up. They drew a picture of Africa, and everybody just cut off a piece that they wanted. Now, when you put enemies, when enemies had to deal with each other before the conference, they always had an option to retreat to the tribal territories where the other group or groups did not usually confront them. After the Europeans redivided the land of Africa into new units along lines they had chosen, these same groups were inside the political units. Frequently, to think of, one would be Rwanda. And that's where some of the major fighting is still going on today. Now, those African people know, I can't tell you how many different tribes there are, but the number of tribes of Africans in Africa, each member of each tribe knows boundaries of his land are. And that, to me, is remarkable. They know exactly where their lands are. But when the Europeans set up this imaginary Africa and added countries and labeled countries, they also labeled boundaries that were not originally set. Now, if you keep thinking the way I'm giving it to you today, if you keep thinking about it, it'll dawn on you that one of the major problems of Black America today, one of our biggest problems is black-on-black crime. We have no idea where our boundaries are in America because we were born into a somewhat of a Berlin Conference, especially after the Civil War during the period known as Reconstruction era. And out of our ignorance, we have the audacity to agree and argue and set our examples against black-on-black crime. The European will use it as a what can I call it? A tool to print it in the newspapers, how we can't get along with each other. So why are we complaining about police shooting us? They only kill, let's say 30 a week. I'm giving you an arbitrary figure. I have no idea, but I'm sure it's a high number a week that the police kill us. But we kill upwards of 3 times that many a week on the weekend, and don't even bring in holidays and the summer. And then they use that to throw in our face. But if we knew our history and knew what I'm telling you now about the tribal boundaries, most of you will probably argue with me and say I don't belong to a tribe. And I'll just say, well, yeah, okay. I don't even want to go there with you. I know that you belong to a tribe. And it would be best for you to try and find out what that tribe is. Of course, we have education, but look how far advanced we are if we only knew our history or our story. Consequences. The consequence wasn't too important until the Europeans left. And these groups had to make a government work. Then those old feuds resurface, and the results are often bloody and long-lasting. Yes, we still have that in our culture. Do we know it? No. We don't even know what culture is. They give us a culture through Hollywood. Knuckles, nuts, and guts. And we think we should be eating that trash. We were raised on it, and it didn't kill us. So why not keep eating it? Even our language in America and ethnic differences are simply inconvenient today, as they were then. But they are also the basis of discrimination, and often is violent and bloody. That's those weekends when we have black-on-black crime. And I blame them jackleg ass preachers. Yes, can't stand them. They all should be tired and feathered, every one of them. There's no such thing as a good preacher. They misuse their positions as teachers. When it was set up, it was never set up to be a religious ordeal or a religious process. A minister is a teacher. I'm a minister, not a religious orientation. And I can challenge my spirit with the average. The average preacher, let's call him that. We need ministers. We need them all through our community to teach. However, we have a problem because we don't know who we really are. There are two major consequences that should get you started on your way to answers. Please feel free. They're talking about economics and social existence. On the economic basis, the reason for division in the 1884 and 1885 was often to allow Europeans access to a particular resource some small area in Africa had. They were fighting over those resources. They're still fighting today. The problem was that with independence, these nations had all their economics tied to one particular resource, such as coffee, cacao, copper, gold, silver, oil, that type of thing. And when the world price for one of the resources failed, the economy of that country collapsed. So the European could control it from Europe by purchasing or what they call manipulating the prices of the resources. Africa can't grow today because of what they did to Africa in 1884 and 1885. So a decline in the prices of world copper prices sets off a tidal wave of economic bankruptcy in some countries that had its national boundaries drawn in 125 years ago at a Berlin table without any consideration for the ripple effect independence and interdependent world economy might have. Now, you can take that one sentence and put it right into Black America and ask the question, why we're not taught to be independent or interdependent. We're only taught to work and depend on them. It's madness. Think about it. You'll see why you hate Jack League ass preachers. They ain't worth it till this day. Half of them don't know what the hell they're doing or talking about, and the other half are conniving, trying to steal everything you got with a blessing of the government. Every one of them ain't worth a damn. If the European shuts down its economy, if the European Wall Street folds, we will suffer to death. Yes. We, Black America, will suffer to death. Now, is that important? Is the Berlin Conference important? Can we learn anything from it? I say yes. Not only is it important, we can learn how to set ourselves free. But the major problem with the Berlin Conference, which is in place today, is for the European nations, and I'm talking about these sons of pups right here in the United States, to keep us fighting among ourselves, failing to unite for self-determination. If we don't do that, we can never, ever, ever be free. It's totally impossible. Berlin Conference was Africa's undoing in more ways than one. The colonial powers superimposed their domains on the African continent. You can kind of visualize that. They drew a map of Africa. Then they petitioned off in agreement who would get what of these 6 European nations without the consent of the African people. And the boundaries that they set up overlapped several different tribes, tribal lands, tribal customs. And as they went in to steal the resources, they had to bring in the army to keep the tribes from fighting each other, which they got used to doing. But then when the independence, quote unquote, so-called independence came, the government could not withstand those tribes coming back together again. We are suffering from that today with our black-on-black crimes. And the reason we can't solve it is because we're not aware of why we do it. And most of you would deny that you are even from a tribe. But the Moorish rise to freedom, I'll call it that, is here. It cannot be stopped. It's an idea. It's a spirit. It's a blessing from your Creator that you will be free and independent. And the more you rise, the more confusion there is on earth. So you better get ready for it. Because the more you demand your freedom, the less freedom they will have. So don't try to act like you're going to try to take them with you. It's totally impossible. They got to get theirs and you got to get yours. You know how to build economy. They don't. They know how to steal an economy. That's no concern of yours. In 1884, at the request of Belgium, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck called together the major Western powers of the world to negotiate questions and end confusion over the control of Africa. Bismarck appreciated the opportunity to expand Germany's sphere of influence over Africa and desired to force Germany's rivals to struggle with one another for the territory. If you look at studying the beginning and the causes of World War I and World War II, it all stemmed from the Berlin Conference. Europeans fighting over resources in Africa. And remember, some of your major battles, they teach you about Germany overrunning Europe, but they don't tell you too much about what happened in Africa. Some of your biggest battles were fought in Africa. Rommel was in Africa. Mussolini out of Italy, fighting for lands and regions that they didn't get in the Berlin Conference that had gobs of oil, and most of the land that they had selected, either the oil ran out or there was no oil there. At the time of the conference, 80% of Africa remained under traditional and local control, 80%. What ultimately resulted was a hodgepodge of geometric boundaries that divided Africa into 50 irregular countries. The new map of the continent was superimposed over the 1,000 indigenous cultures and regions of Africa. There's a good word. Indigenous culture that had been there thousands of years before the European was even on Earth. The new countries lacked rhyme or reason and divided coherent groups of people and merged together groups who really did not get along. All you got to do is think. You don't know who lives across the street from you. You don't even know who is married into your family, where they come from. You don't have a history of that. And I'll ask you, why don't you have a history? We had a history prior to Civil War. That was one of the major reasons of the Civil War, the original Civil War between the Powhatan and the Iroquois Confederation. Iroquois Confederation. Algonquin. That was a major reason of the war, mixing of the blood. They did not want to mix the blood. There was too much of that going on. I got a call today. Should have got an email by now. I got a call today about eat right for your blood type. We haven't read it yet. The author is Dr. Peter J.D. Adamo. I'm going to get a copy of this book. 4 blood types, 4 diets. Eat 4, F-O-R, your type. Diet solutions, make it a little bigger. Diet solutions to stay healthy, living longer, and achieving your ideal weight by Dr. Peter J. Damo. I'm going to get a copy of this and check it out. But I guess you notice I try and show the relationship of history to us. It's all about us. They, doctors, put themselves in it to show that they have done something, but they really haven't. If we knew how to read their history, we could understand who we are, but we don't look at it like that. And I don't hate. Don't start that crap. I'm just giving you some facts. At the time of the conference, 80% of Africa remained under control. 14 countries were represented at this barrage of ambassadors when the conference opened in Berlin on November 15th, 1884. I thought I had another date, February the 26th. The countries represented at the time included Hungary, Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Russia, Spain, Sweden, Norway, Turkey, and the United States of America. Of these 14 countries, France, Germany, Great Britain, and Belgium, and Portugal, not Belgium, Portugal, were the major players in the conference, controlling most of the colonial Africa at the time. And obviously, I was told the United States wasn't there, but they played a role, a huge role in the whole process. However, they were not a major power at the time. The initial task of the conference was to agree that the Congo River and the Niger River mouths, and bases would be considered neutral and open to trade. Despite its neutrality, part of Congo Basin became a personal kingdom for Belgium's King Leopold II. And under his rule, over half of the region's population died. He killed off millions of people. At the time of the conference, only the coastal areas of Africa were colonized by the European powers. At the Berlin Conference, the European colonial powers scrambled to gain control over interior of the continent. The conference lasted until February. There you go. It ended. It started in November of 84 and it ended in February of 85. A 3-month period where colonial powers haggled over geometrical boundaries in the interior of the continent, disregarding the culture and logistic boundaries already established by the indigenous African population. Following the conference, the give and take continued. By 1914, the conference participants had fully divided Africa among themselves into 50 countries. Major colonial holdings included Great Britain, desire of Cape to Cairo collection of colonies, and almost succeeded through the control of Egypt, Sudan, they got them all here, Uganda, Kenya, British West Africa, South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, Botswana. The British also controlled Nigeria and Ghana, then the Ghana, known as the Gold Coast. Wow. France took much of the Western Africa, from Mesopotamia to Chad, French West Africa, Gabon, and the Republic of Congo. We're going to talk about more of that tomorrow. Belgium and the King Leopold controlled the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Belgian Congo. Portugal took Mozambique in the eastern and Angola in the west. Italy holdings were Somalia, Italian Somalian, and also portions of Ethiopia. Germany took Namibia and Tanzania. Spain claimed the smallest territory. Equatorial Guinea, Rio Muni, heard of it. But these were some of the players and some of the lands that were stolen. Unbelievable. I'm getting some questions here. Let me see if I can. I'm getting some questions on my chat room. Let me see what they got here. And let me turn this thing on. Yeah, got quite a bit of questions. Let's see what's happening. All righty. Look like it's already. The churches are under 501c3. It seems that the jurisdiction now called Africa was not actually solidified from the time of the Romans until the birth of the Berlin Conference, 1884 and 1885. Okay. Seems like a lot of people understand this stuff. Okay. It seems that the Europeans learned from the Americans how to take Australia and Africa and South Asia. Golly. Yep. Does the Berlin Conference have anything to do with labeling us Africans? Yes. Like I told you, remember the dates. They came over in 1604. They knew they had a problem with people of color. They came here from Europe, all over Europe. And they knew there was going to be a problem. So they had to set up some rules They knew that the Ottoman Empire, I need to do a piece on the Ottoman Empire. When I found out they were black, it really changed my whole perspective of that time period. I don't know why I just consider them to be Europeans. But that Ottoman Empire, who controlled most of the earth for a long period of time, were feared more than any other group or any other nation. And then when you bring in the Barbary coast, when you start talking about barbarians, and then when you throw in the Roman Empire, see, all that time frame has to be dealt with. And I don't know it to put it into a context that we can understand, but it's important that we understand that. Because when the European came here, he came as a serf or a Slavic under the ruling class of Europe. They were sent here on missions to set up these colonies because they had to expand to the New World. And we're talking about 1600. The Berlin Conference came in 1800. We're talking about a good 200 years, 250 years. So the answer to that last question, by calling us Africans, yes. Does the Berlin Conference have everything to do with calling us Africans? Yes. Labeling us, yes. And let's not get excited about it. But if you go back in time, I can't give you a timetable on this, but I'm talking about 15,000 plus back. 15,000 plus, 20,000 plus. They begin to talk about Pangea. And Pangea was nothing more than a solid mass, like a ball. This planet was a solid mass. Don't get me to get into that because I can't give you nothing of educational other than the fact that it was solid mass. And then there were earthquakes, cataclysmic, I love to say that, cataclysmic earthquakes that was cracking this planet. And as the earth began to crack, water began to come out of the inside of the earth and set up reservoirs as we know them today, lighting the 7 seas, oceans. So when they say, knowing we were here first, knowing they labeled us African, so everyone of color came from Africa. But you got to put it in a timetable. It wasn't coming over here on no damn ship. It wasn't a market for slaves. 85% of all black Americans, Negroes, colors, blacks, whatever you want to call them, 85% was here all the time. And we were broken up into tribes. And we had been designated areas and territories where we were supposed to live. It's no coincidence that most of us came out of the South. That ain't no coincidence. And a lot of your quote-unquote Native Americans come out of the West. That ain't no coincidence. And when you see movies, cowboy movies, when the Indians and the Europeans fought, well, it was running the European into the ocean, go back where you come from. But when the cavalry won the battles, the Native Americans would go back into their territory. And seldom did, I shouldn't say seldom, the cavalry always had to regroup before they went into the territories. And a lot of times they had to do certain things to make them come out, starve them out, kill off the buffalo, all kinds of negative, unhumane activity that would cause them to come out and look for hunger and look for food and stuff like that. Oh, it's mad. But you got to learn it. You need to know it. Because you can't get free unless you know it. And all of the mistakes that we have continuously made for the sake of getting along have only backfired on us. All our history shows the same thing. Most of the so-called great battles that the European talks about and puts in his history, his story, they were massacres only because they had done some unhumane activity against the natives of the land, of the indigenous ones of the land. And then they would strike. That's why they're having trouble today. They don't know how to fight. That's why they're so scared. They don't know how to fight the ISIS, if you will, which don't exist, but that they call it ISIS. Most of your major battles in time, especially the Europeans' time, most of his major battles were fought against an invisible enemy. You need to give that some thought. You need to give that some thought. Yeah. Most of your major battles were fought against an invisible combatant. They had to create Osama bin Laden in order to put a face on the enemy.
New messages received from 314.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'm getting a lot of good books. I just got a list of books. But I'm trying to see who it's from. Carpet Soul. Wow. It's going to take some time for me to deal with some of this. Yep. Y'all put a lot of stuff on me, I can tell you that. I know I have a knack for telling the story. Let's see if I can find my comrade in arms, if he's out there. Does anyone have any questions on this Berlin conference that we can deal with? I'm looking at my callers. I got one. Here we go. Area code 314-0440. Are you?
Hey, greetings.
Greetings, brother. How are you?
All right. As you see, I just sent you some information, some books.
Wow.
And
yes.
And also,
yes.
When you look into the site, I found every nonprofit organization statute on the 501c3. I got 501c1 all the way to 501c23.
Whoa.
Yeah, I sent you the site. Yeah, of all the different organizations. Remember, like dealing with the titles, like Title 8 that deals with the commerce and things like that. We got to understand the subject matter under the 501c, whatever that number be after that, and it's different jurisdictions. Like 501c8 is the fraternal order. That's who the fraternal order, what you call the Knights of Columbus, is up under to conduct their organization. Yes, it will let you know all that if you're going to look this stuff up.
What about Ku Klux Klan? Are they under 501 also?
Repeat that again.
The Ku Klux Klan. They are chartered in most states. Yes.
Yeah, they probably be up under the fraternal order. They probably be up under the fraternal. That's something I don't know exactly, but that's more likely under the fraternal order. So these different organizations that they have, what we call racist organizations, they are up under nonprofit organizations conducting in proper procedure to do what they need to do.
Wow.
Right in our face.
So now,
wait till you check it out.
All right, hold up.
Go ahead.
Hold up. You don't open up a can of worms. What about the Fraternal Order of the Police? Are they under that 501 8, 9?
I don't know if I don't know. I haven't checked that at depth. No, I haven't checked it as a depth yet on it. I just went through a couple of them. I skimmed through it. I just try to find a holistic of all this. If it's a 501c3, then therefore it has to be a 501c4, which I found out then it's so on so on. So just like the titles, you look at all the titles, you learn it holistically. You know.
Well,
so I
tell you this: if they come under the 501c3 or 4 or 5, whatever, they are protected by the Constitution or the European nation. It protects them. I can tell you that for a fact. That's why the police never go to jail, or seldom do they go to jail or be tried for any crime, because they come under the Constitution of the United States. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm going to go through this, baby, and see what. I tried to look at it quickly, but I don't see it. The one you're talking about, the 501.
You click. It's under the site. You have to click on it. You got the little writing, the HTTP. You have to click on the site, right under the first book that I have on there.
Yeah, you said so much, brother. This is a lot, and I'd have to. I can't. And I'm doing it on my telephone. Yep.
I got the answer. The police is up under the 501c4. That's what they up under. Firefighters and all. All you do is put it in, Google it. Right in our face.
I'll be damned.
I actually read one, I think it's 501c5, if I'm not mistaken, read that the NFL corporations are up under all these specific corporations, these juggernauts, up under these 501c3s. I mean, or the 501c's, I call it that, the 501c.
Yeah. 501c. Wow. Whew. I'm going to have to give you a buzz tomorrow on this. Yep.
And remember, Brian, you were talking about the indentured servant. What's the difference between the indentured servant and the slave for signing the X? Ain't no difference.
Yes.
They all was indentured servants. They just didn't tell the slave, or they gave them the name Slav to misguide them or divert them from the contract of an indentured servant, so they would understand the little rules of how to administrate. So the slave owner person will do the administration as an indentured servant, needing his X as a signature.
So all of that slavery started with indentured servitude. That's what you're saying.
Correct. All of it.
Yep.
It has to be indentured servitude no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Slavery is made up. That's an illusion. All of it is indentured servant, but it's misused due to the ignorance and the force that they use on the so-called slave or the white slaves or whoever.
Yeah, but
same thing they're doing now.
All right, but the good thing about it, the difference between an indentured servant and a slave can never get out of working, but an indentured can sign a contract. Well, I guess both of them sign contracts, but the indentured had a way out because he could work himself out of bondage.
Correct. And there's a reason behind that, because the slave was given a what? He was given. The master takes over the indentured contract, understand? So he's the steward of the contract. So the slave that don't know how to be a steward of his contract, yes, he cannot have no rights. Yes, he can't do anything.
Right. And that's our problem today, because we don't have a status. We refuse to maintain a status, so we're labeled as property, which will make us be slaves forever. Until we declare a nationality. That's why they had to label you a slave. That's why they had to label you a slave. So you wouldn't fall under the jurisdiction of being an indentured servant, which gave you more rights than being a slave. Yes.
So you know that.
I totally agree. God almighty, no. Man, that's a good information there.
Because a indentured servant knew his rights, right? A indentured servant knew what he could and could not do. A slave didn't know nothing.
Yes. And so that's really the difference between slavery and involuntary servitude. It's a condition of your mind. It's the consciousness that you have. Because like you just said, the slave didn't know he had freedom. There was a way out. And since he didn't know it, and once they began to teach him there was no way out, they changed the law under the color of law and said he couldn't come out until he freed himself to become of the majority. I'm throwing a lot
Correct.
in there.
That's why they didn't want you to learn how to read and write. It wasn't because they want you to learn the Bible and nothing like that. They didn't want you to learn those contracts because the people will start mastering our contracts. They know how to start fighting. Like a Dred Scott. If Dred Scott knew about his contracts, he wouldn't have that problem.
Correct. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's some good stuff, brother. You done hit the jackpot this time. My goodness. All right, man. I appreciate your call.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Wow. All right, good people. We at the very top of the hour. You can donate to them. I can't. If the gentleman that's calling in, April Capelli, I need you to give me your number. You can call in. Call in. The number is 718-506-1864. Okay? The number is 718-506-1864. And when you call in and get in, push number 1. And I can see that you are calling, and I'll know who you are. And I'll let you in. We got a person in the chat room who wants to ask a question or talk. Okay. They're bringing up foreign entities, private corporations. Slavery is called involuntary servitude. That's something that you really need to look at, involuntary servitude. What government structure was used by the members of the Berlin what government structure? That's a good question. If they didn't use Robert's Rules of Order, I would guess. I see a new caller come in. I'll get him in a minute. I guess it was more of a rhubarb type operation. I'm on. Okay, let me get her in. Whoever this is. Area code 732-40893. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
Yes, the guy that was just talking before you went on break. Wow, he's touching on a lot of stuff that I've learned. I'm dealing with the courts, and you talked about some of the stuff, and then I heard you talking about the slavery with the Africans and all of that, and I post on there about how they cleaning it up now. They're trying not to let it be called slavery. They want to clean it up. So it's called, they call it involuntary servitude. Okay, I was just going through my papers trying to pull up all the violations for cops, judges, and prosecutors from Title 18. Okay, because that's one of the violations in Title 18. And I can't remember exactly which one it is, but right now I'm suing 6 judges in the federal court and 5 sheriff officers, and I'm constantly illegally detained, arrested, warrants put out for me, my license was taken, my SUV was taken, and like I said, I have lawsuits pending against these judges and sheriff officers in the federal court as we speak, and I'm happy to say that each and every one that I have pending, I'm winning by default because they can't respond, they can't rebut the affidavit, first of all, that I put on them.
Yeah.
And so that's how I'm winning these cases, because they cannot come into federal court because they committed fraud in the court.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
let me make a suggestion. When you sue a particular judge, you should always sue in their private capacity. That will let them come in.
Yes,
court.
that's how I'm winning these cases, because that's what I went on. I did a breach of fiduciary duty on them, and I'm suing them in their private capacity. Yes, I am.
Right.
And they're constantly retaliating against me. I received death threats. I got a text to my phone telling me to leave the paperwork alone or else coon. They called me a coon. I mean, I've been going through it with these people, but they want to know where I'm getting all of my information. I even had the FBI. They want to know where I'm getting my information from. And they're telling me, oh, don't teach nobody, stay away from the groups, and, don't give no classes, and that's why I was detained when I went to the judge's chambers. They all want to know where I'm getting. I read. What are you surprised?
Wow.
I'm black and I read.
Yeah.
And they had my paperwork flowing through the building. I mean, I'm well known.
Do you have your injunction in place? Do you have your birth certificate in place?
I did my birth. Let me tell you what they did. I changed my status, but I did everything without the UCC.
Okay.
I changed my status. Now, the only thing they won't turn over everything that's supposed to be turned over to me. They won't allow me access to the trust account or nothing.
Wow. Well,
because they're constantly retaliating against me.
Yeah. Wow. Can I ask you what state you're in?
In New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey.
In New Jersey?
Yeah, I'm in New Jersey. And because, from doing my research, it's a way that it can be done without doing the UCC. Okay? And I'm trying to find that way now, because, like I said, they took everything from me. They stripped me now. They stripped me. I have nothing. I was a tractor trailer driver. They took my license. And like I said, I'm getting a death threat. So now that...
Are you winning anything back? Have you won anything back?
Well, right now it's just a matter of doing the paperwork for the default judgment and demand payment on it. I have to demand a payment from them, and if they don't pay me, then I'm going to put a lien on their property, and I'm going to sue their spouses. So,
yes.
I had enough. I've been dealing with this. The first judge I sued, brought into court was for child support, because child support has been deemed unconstitutional. It's a separation of powers.
Yeah.
And I brought her in because she refused to rebut the affidavit. So I sued her on that ground, and I was suing her because they fraudulently was taking money from my children. And then they continued to take the money after I terminated the child support case. I told them to stop putting my name on paperwork, but that was the only way they could bring my children's father in the court. They have to have my name on it. No, I'm not being a part of your fraud. I'll go to court December 1st, because what they're doing is they're sending me from court to court. Municipal courts, superior courts, are all equity courts. They're just there to get the money out of you, okay?
Yes.
And the way they do that, they have everybody come in to balance their scales, and they waive their rights. The ones that are ignorant, that don't know, they go in there and waive their rights. And that's how they get paid. So the 1st of December, because I just cracked it last night, the 1st of December, I'm going in there with my invoice. Since everybody in the court is getting paid, and I'm the one that's bringing all the energy and the positive energy, and you can't get no money unless I sign your documents. so I need to be paid. It's a business, and business is business.
And you're driving them crazy. Yes. You're driving them up the wall. I can tell you that now.
I can't hear you. You broke up.
Yeah, I'm saying that you're driving them crazy with your knowledge.
Oh yeah. They don't know what to do with me.
Yeah.
And I try to get some of the guys, some people. I told them, I said, look, I'll type up the paperwork because I go in there with the laws, and I let them know. I don't play with them when I come in there. I let them know when I come in there. I'm not here to decipher none of your codes, none of your statutes, or your words. I'm not here for that. Okay? Because everything is based on nouns and adjectives and verbs.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a certain form they're supposed to have when you come in that courtroom. And they don't have it. Because it's a corporation. They're all private. The judge told me he was putting me in a trial. This is the judge I have to go in front of on the first. You can't put me in the trial. Where's your delegation of authority? And who's bringing this? Where's the woman and the man that's bringing this claim?
Yes.
The sheriff officer filed a claim. He can't file a claim. He's a foreign entity. What is going on in here? This is a circus.
Listen. Take this name down. Anna, A-N-N-A. You might have heard of her. Anna.
Let me get a pen. Hold on.
All right.
Okay, Anna
Von, V-O-N.
V-O-N.
V is in Victor. V-O-N.
V-O-V-O-N.
Anna
Okay.
Von Ritz. Her last name is Ritz. R-I-E-T-Z-E-N. Ritz. She is a judge of circuit court in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Look her up. Google her, and they have an injunction against the Bar Association.
Mm-hmm.
And they're giving out the information where you can join it, and it will put the whole court, the judges, the lawyers, everybody under this commercial lien that's already out there.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Now, another name that's involved with this is David E. as in Echo. David E. Robinson. David E. Robinson, yes. He writes for her.
Okay.
He got several books out, but he writes for her. And the name of his paper is The State of Maine. Maine Republic. Maine Republic. Yes. Look those up. And get hooked into that. Yes. And you know my email address. So if there's anything else I can do, email me and I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, because they really taking me through it, and they know that I changed my status and everything, and they continue to bring me into the court because I'm tax exempt, and I know that everything that they have taken, I got my live birth record and everything. I did everything at the registrar, everything. And
do you have? What about your affidavit? Affidavit of ownership.
I did. I don't have that. That's what I did. What I did it with was the affidavit. I did an illegal affidavit of domicile. That's what I did.
I'm not familiar with that. But
so I'm considered American national. That's what I'm considered as. And so now I have to do the affidavit of ownership.
Oh, yes. Go to my website, ronmarch.com, and then go to blog and go down and read the articles, but read the last article known as titled "Who Owns You?"
Okay.
and that will help you clear up some stuff.
Okay,
and there may be something very small that you're not doing. I don't know enough about it to say, and I'm not no superstar to it. But there may be something very small that you have omitted. That's why they're still coming after you. I'm
thinking it's because I didn't do the affidavit of ownership. I killed a straw man. I did kill a straw man when I did that. I did it under the age of majority. That's what I did it under.
But see, I'm not familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't give you any knowledge on it because I don't know anything about that.
Mm-hmm.
But let's stay in touch. Let me know how you're doing.
I sure will, but I just want to say this before I let you go. The key to the courts, do not use none of their paperwork. Always, I type up all my affidavits, my motions. I change the venue with my paperwork. I don't use nothing of theirs. Nothing.
Yes.
And that's the key to it.
Yes. That's a good key. That works.
Mm-hmm.
I know that works. Yes.
Yeah, because as long as you're using their paperwork, you're in their jurisdiction. They use their little tricks. They say their little words to put you back in their jurisdiction. As long as you don't sign anything, don't consent to anything, they can't do nothing. I got them going haywire in the courts because I won't sign. They can't get paid if I don't sign. No, I'm not signing. I don't agree to it. And I told the judge, all parties have to be in agreement in the contract. I'm not in agreement with it. So they locked me up. They locked me up.
You up?
Yeah, they locked me up. Because I won't sign.
Oh, wow.
I'm used to it now. I just tell come on. I just put my hands behind my back because I know they're coming. Because the officer started walking up to me, and he's coming to arrest me. What am I being arrested for? We don't know yet. So I'll sit overnight. Then they'll give me a bail, or sometimes they'll just let me go. But when they put me in jail, that's to fix their books.
Yes.
That's to make it look like, I consented to everything. But every time I sign to get out, I rescind my signature. I use the UCC 308 and 305, all rights reserved. I put everything down there. And I told him, now you're still not going to get paid. One judge threatened to throw me back in jail that day if I didn't sign her paperwork. And I just got out.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm going through it. But
listen, you get that affidavit in place, and you need to get an injunction in place.
Mm-hmm.
You're aware of the injunction. And you need to start listing when they kidnap you. You need to make invoices for that.
Okay.
Yes.
But I let them know every time they put me in jail, they're activating my fee, which is $5,000 every time I go. So, I gave the judge an invoice. I gave the judge an invoice for $900,000. He said, "What's that for?" This is my bill. And if you can't pay me today, you're going to pay me in a lawsuit for the 9 times I've been in your court.
Yes.
This is a business.
Yes. But now you know about the administrative remedy. You know how to do that, don't you?
I just started working on it because I said, okay, what I'm going to do is learn the whole administrative process, and I can administrate my own.
Yes.
That's what I'll do.
Yes. Yes.
And eliminate the middleman.
You're right.
Because this is crazy.
You need to get on that as soon as possible. The injunction, the administrative remedy. You need to start on that, and you need to get on the affidavit of ownership.
I sure will. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Good luck. I
know.
Wow. Help me, somebody. Wow. Unbelievable. But no, I guess it's not that unbelievable. I got a lot of chatter in the chatter box. Constitution of each state. in the Constitution of each state. They have origins in indigenous constitution. They have origins in indigenousness. We must find the keys to decode the way it works. That's why she's catching hell, because that's what I say too. There's something that she's not doing that's small. That's why they keep fooling with it, but they know they have a right to do it until she finds out what that right is. And I don't know, because a lot of the things I asked her, she had not done. But I think if you're still listening, you need to get on it. You need to get on it right ASAP, as soon as possible. Your affidavit of ownership, your injunction, do not detain, injunction, and what was the third thing? I can't remember what the third thing was. But that was a very exciting transmission. Yep. Okay. Well, with phone calls like that, and then listening to the news, those damn senators up in Washington, you want to ask the question, are they just downright stupid, or are they playing the game? This session tonight, especially on the call we got earlier about these 501c and who comes under that, mercy. I want to get on that right away. And I'm sure the good brother emailed me that information that he sent me on the telephone, so I'll get a chance to get into it. But we need to get all of that information and study it and put it in your personal way of life. Yes, because that injunction, see, there's no blanket injunction. There's no injunction that's out there that can serve everyone's personal lifestyle. Each one has to fit your own personal lifestyle. And that's one of the reasons why most people haven't put theirs together. They're beginning to realize the injunction is just like a PPO. Ladies that have a PPO, I guess a man can have a PPO also. Ladies that get a PPO against that crazy-ass husband that's been beating them or been harassing them. The courts need to know exactly what he's doing so they can explain in the PPO. Don't do it again. You are given a fair warning not to do it again. Now, there may not be a law against, for example, walking on the same side of the street that your woman is coming down. She goes to the park every day at 12 o'clock to take the kids, and she picks them up at 2 o'clock, let's say. He makes a habit of being in the area every day at 12 and 2 just to harass her by showing up, and it makes her feel uncomfortable. She will put that in her injunction that don't even be on the street. I had a bench injunction put on me one time, and I was told that's the worst injunction you can have, because the judge can say anything, and whatever you do, he'll say, I said that for you not to do. But if you get it in writing, then you know what you can and cannot do. But that injunction that this young lady has to put together ASAP will stop them from harassing her. Or she can take them to court once she proves which one of them does it. Take them to court, sue them, and the courts have to respond. And another thing that was good about the call was most young guys, like my sons, always want to tell me that, they're not going to abide by it. It ain't no good. Whatever you got, they're not going to do this and not going to do that. Well, if that's true, why are they harassing this young lady? Why don't they just do what they want to do? Why do they want her to stop? And I've had this happen to me. I got a letter from some attorneys back in 2009. I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but they told me that my paperwork was causing him bodily harm, and his wife was harming her because she couldn't shop because I put a lien on him. You dig? Now, I didn't know at the time that was an offer. That was an offer. You always have to keep the door open to negotiate. Because the first thing courts will do is rule against you because you will not negotiate in good faith. I know you're going to call me crazy, but that's true. But now you got to know how to negotiate. When you get a letter from, if you put a lien or you put some paper on a particular present the corporation, no matter what the corporation is, if you put a lien or paperwork on a corporation, when they respond, you must read their response very careful. Because 9 times out of 10, if they respond, it's going to be in the form of an offer. And all you have to say, for example, if they tell you to stop sending in so much paperwork, we're not going to answer any more of your paperwork. Okay, that's an offer. You could say to them in return, you can counter that offer by saying, I will stop the paperwork if you give me my money or give me whatever you took from me, give it back. Remember, in the maxims of commerce, he who stands last always wins. So anytime you get any type of response and you don't answer, they win. I don't care what your circumstances are. They win. You must remember that. There, I'll say it again. When you get into the corresponding with your corporations and they respond, that response is nothing more than an offer. You must read it from the perspective of an offer. Then you counterclaim their offer. Now, if they don't respond, you're in better shape because you are winning as they don't respond. You don't even want them to respond. That's how you establish your administrative remedy. By them not responding after 3 letters, you can get a summons and complaint court order against them. Yes. It sounds like a game, and believe it or not, that's what it is. I see Brother Chaos. Brother Chaos, I see you're on the line.
Hey.
Hey now. How you doing?
What's going on? I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Did you hear the sister that called in?
No, I got cut off, so I'm actually just not getting dialed back in. I'm gonna go back and listen in the archives.
Right on. I just saw it pop up at the bottom down here, so I was wondering if you had heard.
Give me a quick recap. What happened with the call? Give me a quick recap on what happened.
Well, the lady seemed to be very, very versed in the legalese of the courts. And it seemed as though it started with child support, and I didn't get into the who, because she was a female, and I'm not sure of the specifics. But when she started putting paperwork on the courts, they all reneged. Everybody started reneging. And as they reneged, she was hanging paper on. And she sued. She said she sued 5 judges and, well, let me just say it this way, several judges and several police officers, because they had arrested her, brought her to jail, brought her to court. The judge had put her in jail for contempt. It's been madness. But I was asking her about some of the details that she done, and she has not done some of the things that I thought would be important for her to survive. So she said she was going to get right in on it. But she was well versed in what she was doing, and she was driving them bonkers. She said she had death threats. They had taken her car.
Wow.
And they had locked her up, but they only keep her overnight, 24 hours, 48 hours. Sometimes they cut her loose. Other times they make her pay a fine. And she says she's not giving up. So it was interesting, very interesting.
Wow, is she familiar with the injunction?
She said she was, but she had not put one in. And I told her, I said, that should have been your first move, to put that injunction in. Don't.
Yeah. And because now you have a contract you can hang over their heads too. People that's harassing you, have a contract that you can enforce. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was quite interesting, and overall, I've been talking about the Berlin conference. You hadn't got in on it, and how they divvied up Africa, and how those same that was in 1884 after the Civil War. So United States was well aware.
Right.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
They were very well aware of tactics that they had been using here in the United States, because this is also after the Reconstruction period, and that was probably the worst times of our lives during that Reconstruction, because they had to
no doubt,
kill, murder, rape, do everything to us to get us away and off the land, so they could have the land and start building the United States of how can I say it? Expanding the 13 colonies,
Right.
And then tomorrow, Beverly D and I are going to talk about what's going on with ISIS in Paris.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that one. I can't wait to hear that one.
Yep. I sent you an article, and I'm gonna let me give everybody this article. Did you get a chance to read it?
I skimmed through some of it. It's very, very good stuff there.
Man, my wife started reading and just laid it down, said it's too much. Said she couldn't take any more of it. But I'm going to give everyone the title of it, and tomorrow we want to get into it. Or you can email me if you're out there, and email me and ask for the article. I'll send it to you in the morning, so you'll be ready for it tomorrow evening. Email me tonight, and tomorrow morning I'll send it to you. It's called African Countries Forced by France to Pay Colonial Tax for the Benefit of Slavery and Colonization. It's a long title.
Yep.
But,
the chickens are coming home to roost, huh?
Yes. Unbelievable. I turned Beverly D on. She was really excited about it.
I was laughing at the cartoon. I was laughing at the cartoon of the African feeding the
feeding French.
Feeding the French. Yeah, that was kind of funny, man.
Yes. But this article, man, it brings. There was a movie. I think I mentioned this a long time ago. A movie made underground called The Battle of Algiers.
Yes, I remember you mentioning that. Mm-hmm.
Yep, one in French and one in American. And I saw it back in the 60s in the basement of a church during probably around 64, 65, right along in there. And it was banned from the United States. Can you believe that? It was banned in the United States. So they were showing it underground. Yeah. And some of the stuff that was in that movie will make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. How they were treating those Africans in Algeria when the French went in and conquered it. But then when they had the second battle, they ran the French out. And see, we forget that type of history. So much going on in America. We forget all of that.
All the stuff that's going on, with ISIS, you can call it whatever you want, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, it's all the same entity.
All the same crap. Yes.
It's all the same thing, it's just remixed with a different name.
Yes.
And all of it is to distract. It's to distract us from all the other stuff that's going on, from all the other moves that they're making. It's like we on a big ass chessboard, and they trying to make moves and distract you with another move.
Yep. Totally correct. It's unbelievable how it works, and it works over and over and over. It's almost like we don't really learn anything.
People keep falling for the same okie doke, but you got a lot more people that are waking up now. That is a good thing.
Yep. But
with shows like this, people can actually see and wake up and get the real story.
Yes. What was the name of the movie? They're asking me about that movie in the chat room. If you're talking about the one we just mentioned, it's called The Battle of Algiers. And remember, there's two versions. There's a French version, and then there's an American version. They're speaking French in one and English in the other. And it's a very good movie. It just shows the tactics, how they conquer nations. But then you have to remember the spirit, the idea. How do you conquer an idea? We want to be free. So you have to ask, what tactics can be used to kill freedom?
Right.
Now, we're not talking about chaining you and putting you in. See, that would be the best way to go, because then we could really get the fight on. But they took the chains off. So if they took the chains off, the question is, how can we be free? How do you fight freedom? How do you fight the idea of being free? And see, like they're over there in Africa. And I'll talk more about it tomorrow, but they're over there in Paris searching for ISIS. Now, how do you fight? If you're bombing my home, Obama's been bombing Syria and parts of Afghanistan ever since he's been in office. Now,
how do you tell which is which?
Yes. And see, people don't realize it because they don't have troops. He took the troops out, but then he's dropping those damn those bombs from those what's that airplane?
B-17 or B-18, B-17 bombers?
No.
Stealth bombers?
No. The plane without pilots.
Oh, you're talking about the drones. Yeah. Drones.
Yes, he's been using drones ever since he's been in office.
That's
so
true.
Now, if you're bombing and killing people, what are they supposed to do? And then you'll brag every now and then that we killed a leader of ISIS. Okay. How many civilians did you kill to get that leader of ISIS? If you did kill him.
Yep.
And then they want to know why are the Syrians or why are the Afghanistan man in America? I've heard of such foolishness. Well, anyway, we'll have time tomorrow to look into that a little bit more. But I want everyone.
Sounds like it's going to be a good show.
Oh yeah. And it'll be much better if people will read the article prior to tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If you read the article, let me give that title again. It's called African Countries Forced by France to Pay Colonial Tax for the Benefits of Slavery and Colonization. That's madness. The title itself is ass backwards.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yep. That's something else. All right. Well, we're getting close to the top of the hour. What we got? About 7 minutes. I'm looking to see if we have any more questions. Why would terrorists go to kill people with a passport? Why would a terrorist go to kill people with a passport? What kind of question is that? Somebody asked him that question. Why
got me on that one?
Why would a terrorist go to kill people with a passport? That don't make sense.
That one. They want to be more specific on that one. That's like asking you, why would you go to McDonald's and order well, let's not say McDonald's. Why would you go to Wendy's and order a burger? I mean, you gotta be a little bit more specific on what they mean when they say that. Maybe you're catching like the second part of a statement or something, or a question. It just seems like it's some information missing out of there.
Yes. Oh, I think it's a joke. It says, why would a terrorist go to kill people with a passport? The answer is because they said they found a passport in Paris. Oh, that's I don't know what to say about that.
Wow.
A bomb site. God almighty.
Wow.
Well, I'll leave it alone. Yeah, let's leave it alone. Yep. All right. Well, I see we're getting a lot of comments online, which is all good because they've learned how to treat us. You know, if we look at our condition, people of color in America, and I'm talking about Black America, because the Mexicans, the Puerto Ricans, the Spanish, the Somalians, they all have their own economic systems. We do not. They have ways of bringing food in from their homelands in order to survive. We don't. So as long as they can keep us dependent on them, we can never be free. That's what the United Nations calls self-determination. They deny us self-determination. If we don't do what they say do, or if we don't create what they say create, they turn on us. And we don't have the knowledge, wisdom, or the gumption to either say no or this is why I expose preachers. They have the voice they have a voice to teach our people how to come out of bondage. And yet they talk about a fantasy called heaven, where we can die. When we die, we can go to heaven, and everything will be.
Church is a business, Ron. It's a business for them. And if they're teaching people how to free themselves, that's bad for business. That's bad for business.
Yeah, but
and a lot of them are privy to that information.
Well, Elijah Muhammad was a minister, and the Nation of Islam has ministers, and I'm talking about when the messenger was alive. they taught their people how to create economic survival.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me? And
True.
they were ministers. You know, you can be a minister of information, minister of communication. You know, you would be a minister of technology because you have the
But you're also talking about somebody that learned directly from Noble Drew Ali. So there was I think more of a duty to his teachings and to his philosophy in that time period than now. Everybody's so focused on self and how can I keep these people under me? How can I keep our finances flowing with these people? I think it's still more of a control thing, whether you look at the Muslim religion, the Christian religion, or the what's the other one? You got Islam, you got Christianity, you got
Catholicism.
What's the third one?
Catholic.
Catholicism.
Jewish.
Yeah, that sort of falls under Christianity. You know, all the ones that the Vatican control.
Yep.
Everything goes back to control. Goes back to the pyramid. Who's at the top of the pyramid, pulling the strings and controlling everybody. So you know, I think that has a lot to do with it. When Noble Drew Ali came in the picture, you know, all that really wasn't the establishment was there, but not in that way. So, you know, you look at then and you look at now, everybody's focused on control in one form or another, whether it's through the media, through religion, through whatever. Everything is focused on playing mind tricks and binding people. You know, so I don't ever see preachers. I mean, you got people like Reverend Knight that were trying to show people how to come out of their situation, but as a whole, I don't ever see preachers turning around and saying, okay, let's help free these people, because again, it's bad for business.
Yeah. Well, so many of them. We got over 5,000 churches in Detroit, and my point is
every corner.
Yeah. So what's the purpose of it? Now, let me say this before we go off the air. I'm getting some clarification about this passport, which is important. I thought about 9/11 when they said they found a passport in a garbage can a week later from it wasn't a passport, but it was an ID. Over there in France, they say they found a passport at the bomb site in Paris that one of the terrorists had. The question is, why would a terrorist have a passport? What the hell he need with a passport? He blowing up everything.
Now it makes sense. Makes sense. Yep.
They're trying to associate.
That's an answer within itself.
Yes. They're trying to associate blacks, niggas, with terrorists, and I believe that.
Yeah.
And if they don't associate, at least they're frightening people, blacks, to stay away from Islam, stay away from Arabs, that type of thing. Because everything is based on our being, our survival. So they got to keep the fear in us, but they're scaring the hell out of white folks. They need to put the whole white nation on suicide watch, if you ask me. They're really.
But fear is one of the best tools you can control people with. Fear is the best tool to control people.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well.
Man, oh man.
Wow.
Yep. So anyway, until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we get at the top. And what we'll do, we'll be coming in tomorrow, and we're going to deal with Beverly. We're going to deal with Beverly D, and we're going to talk about Paris. So everybody get this article and read it. It's called African Countries Forced by France to Pay Colonial Tax for the Benefit of Slavery and Colonization. Colonization. All right, until tomorrow.